Alright, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Return to the SWF. We are here for our go-home show for Master of Puppets. Full card book tonight, full card book for the pay-per-view. I will go over the whole pay-per-view after this episode of Supreme TV. And nothing really happened in the news. I do have a funny note where in the last episode I said that TCW is rising. So after, I think it was on Wednesday this week, I didn't get an email. In the news report, it's like, oh, TCW sets their sights, which basically means like they're going to be signing a couple people. So I'm like, oh, this will be cool. Let me keep track of it. They signed a ref. They signed Eric Tyler to do road agent things. And I'm like, all right, cool. Easy signings are out the way. Who we bringing in, TCW? Nothing, and then Doug Peak. And it just, it sums up the whole company that their biggest fucking signing. They grow as a company, and the best they can do is fucking Doug Peak. Doug Peak is like mid in the Dave series. That shows you everything. I don't even know if they wanted to sign Doug. They probably just bent over backwards so that Eddie Peak wouldn't leave. But yeah, slow news week. A bunch of title changes happened in 5SSW, but honest to God, I don't think the overlap for SWF fans and 5SSW fans is going to be big enough for me to warrant even mentioning. So, without further ado, let's get into the card. So we're going to open the show where we have the big money makers taking on Froshore and Finn Bruiser. This came when the Big Money Boys beat them both up last week, and wanted to beat them up some more. After that, we have Team Sexy versus Oliver Cobb and ZWB, who Team Sexy want revenge on ZWB and Cobb. ZWB more specifically for taking, I believe it was Bear's spot in the, not the number one contenders match, he took Sammy's spot, because Bear's in the match. Bear is in the North American title match. He took Sammy's spot away from them, so they want revenge, and Oliver Cobb's just getting caught in the crossfires because he's boys with ZWB right now. Avalanche versus Akuma. This was pre-booked just kind of on a whim last week, just to hype up the tag title match between Domination and Hawaiian Crush. Mainstream Hernandez, or Jimmy Hernandez, I did mainstream so I could use less words. Mainstream, Morgan, and Gilmore take on Primus, Hollywood Brett, and Adam Smasher in a 3 versus 3 tag team match, faces versus heels. All 6 men are in the number one contenders 6-way. I had a really fun name for it last show, and I forgot what I was calling it. It was the 6-way Gold Rush. All 6 members in the 6-way Gold Rush are going to be facing off here tonight to, just hype that up a little. And then in our main event, Scythe and Remo, very fun team. Fun, actually, not for Mikey Lau and Steve Freely, but just in general, just kind of an interesting team. Taking on Mikey Lau and Steve Freely. Remo and Mikey Lau have been feuding for ages, what feels like, and they hate each other. And Scythe and Steve Freely are both in the 5-way world title match that will be main eventing Master of Puppets. And I just kind of looked at that and I'm like, Steve Freely has not fought Scythe before. That could be fun. So that was pre-booked when Remo and Mikey Lau, I believe, were absolutely eating each other alive backstage. And Eric had to break them up. And the only way he could convince them to stop was that if you guys can get a taste of action against each other next week, I'll figure something out, and this is what he figured out. So, yeah, I don't really have anything else that needs to be discussed before we go into the show, and we open this edition of the Supreme TV with Randy Unleashed, and he comes out alone. There's no Primus nearby, and he makes mention of this. He's like, I've come out here alone because I have one thing in mind. I need to make an alliance for this title match. It's going to be a free-for-all. It's going to be chaos. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So I've come out alone to show that I'm completely vulnerable and I'm dead serious when I'm asking you, Crippler, form an alliance with me. Come on out here. And Crippler comes out and he's so goddamn confused. He's like, "What? An alliance?" He's like, "Okay, we'll go in there on Saturday." I was gonna say Thursday, but I moved the pay-per-views. We're gonna go in there on Saturday. We'll take everybody out until it's just me and you left standing, and then we have ourselves a good old-fashioned one-on-one match. What do you say? And then the Crippler pauses. He's like, "You know, Randy, that's a great idea." And he's like, "Oh my God, really?" "Yeah, Randy, great idea." And, oh man, I'm thinking we'll come up with a tag team name. Cripply Unleashed. Yeah, Cripply Unleashed. That's a great tag team name. And Crippler is just continuously humoring this poor man. He is just fucking with him. He's like, "You know what I'm thinking? Chris Bumhole. It's Bumhole, but yeah, Chris. That's a tag name. Yeah, man." He's just humoring him, and this goes on for like a minute, and eventually it just ends with Crippler being like, "Randy, you do know I know you're really goddamn stupid, but you can tell I'm joking, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, man. Yeah, that was funny. So, how do you want to handle this on Saturday?" And Crippler's like, "Oh my fucking," and he just lays him out. So, not a good day for Randy Unleashed here. Great day for Crippler. We stand the Crippler. We love the Crippler. 97 rated segment. Big Money Makers versus Finn and Fro. Good match. Really good match. 70. Spencer Spade's amazing. Dwayne Fry and Remington Remus have great chemistry. You love to see it. Both the Big Money Boys have good ringside chemistry with their managers. So the match goes 6.5 minutes. And eventually, they don't need to cheat. I mean, obviously, Chrissy and Dulce are going to be fucking around at ringside. They'll get ejected or whatever. But in the end, they actually don't need to cheat to win, as they make sure Finn can't tag in. And when he did tag in, that they, let's say Finn starts the match and then he tags out, and they just make sure Finn can't tag back in. And they pry on the inexperience of Frosure, able to take advantage of that before beating him. And Brandon James pins him, hits the franchise flatliner. And after the match, the boys continue to try to beat down. However, they have really angered Finn by preventing a hot tag. And Finn is actually able to fight the Big Money Makers out. They're out? What the fuck? Fight them out? What the fuck does that mean? He's able to fight them off, and he clotheslines both of them out to the ring. Brandon James wants to run back in. Spencer has to stop him like, yo, it's not worth it. We already won the match. Let's just go. And then they retreat. 64 rated segment, and that leads into another episode of Simply Awesome Shit Talk. This is a serious edition of Simply Awesome Shit Talk, as Huey Cannibal and Jefferson Stardust have a PSA to announce. Guys, it is not okay to beat women. And Fame and Money genuinely seem like they did not know this PSA. So, Huey and Jefferson spend the next, 3 minutes just ripping Fame and Money a new asshole. Just, Paul Huntington, you are an aristocrat, but, you're about to get a wrist up your ass by me for what you did to BJ. Jefferson says, Monty, you can have all the stocks in the world, but there will be no trust funds for when I fund my ass kicking to you, and trust me, I will leave you in a fucking wheelchair for what you did to BJ. They are still very mad about it, because it's almost like Fame and Money kicked the shit out of their manager. So, yeah, 82 rated segment. After that, we have Team Sexy versus Oliver Cobb and ZWB. Fun match, 74 rating. ZWB is a god amongst all these men. Holy shit. But in the end, the babyfaces prevail, despite Joe Sexy trying to do whatever he can at ringside. Babyfaces prevail. ZWB and Oliver Cobb come out on top, but the celebration is very short-lived when their rivals Des Davids and Squeaky McLean run in, jump him from behind. Squeaky with, a bat because he can't wrestle anymore. Des Davids uses his fist because he's based, and he also picked on Oliver Cobb. So they begin to beat him down until they are saved by their rivals, Lenny Brown and Rogue, who are not both. I was going to say both in the North American title match, but they are not both in the North American title match. Only Des Davids, Lenny Brown, and ZWB is. However, the baby faces run in, big hype-up angle, make sure everybody on the card. So if you guys can't tell, my go-home shows are a little more autopilot. Just kind of get everybody on the show, hype up the pay-per-view. I mean, this is probably how they should be booked, just kind of not mindless. It's not mindless, but you get what I mean. I'm trying not to start new storylines right before a pay-per-view, so it's just kind of like hyping up the matches that we've already announced. So 81 for that segment. And backstage, quick little promo between Dominic and Steven Parker, and essentially what happens is Dom's like, I'm going to be honest, Steven, I am kind of jealous that you're going to be the one facing Greg Keith. That's a pretty big opportunity for you there, but the old selfish, asshole, arrogant Dominic DeSouza is gone for good. I was taken advantage of and thrown to the side, and now I know it feels like shit, so I'm not going to do the same to you, Steven. I just want you to know that come your match on Saturday, as jealous as I am, I'm not going to hold that against you, and I'm going to make sure that Sam Keith and Greg Keith don't do any funny business at ringside. 57 for that. Remo is backstage looking for his tag team partner, and he can't find him. And he eventually finds John Green, and he's like, John, where the fuck is that hooded asshole? And John's like, I would refrain from calling him an asshole. And Remo's like, I'm refraining from beating you with my two pinky fingers. Where the fuck is he? And John's like, you're not going to find him. I'm not going to go get him. You can beat me up all you want. At the end of the day, I got security here to make sure I come out alive. And Remo's like, what kind of... We need to talk game plan. And John's like, trust him. You don't need to talk game plan. And Remo just kind of gives him a little nugget of advice. Tell your boy to not fuck me over tonight. Mikey Lau is mine. If we lose this match, you will lose your life, and I will strip Scythe naked before throwing him off a cliff onto a fucking Super Mario style spikes in the fucking ground. And John's like, okay, no need to worry, Remo. And Remo storms off, not happy. Remo likes to talk game plan, and he also likes to know where the fuck his tag team partners are. 83 rated segment, 71 for the Avalanche versus Akuma match. I'm not surprised there was not a lot of selling shown. This match was booked as the idea of just a fucking hoss fight. So they're just clubbering each other back and forth. But in the end, actually, Avalanche is picking up a huge solo win for himself here, as he is able to defeat Akuma. Not clean, because Kristen Pierce interfered, and I also had Chill interfere. So, just an interference win, but it's still a huge singles win for Avalanche here, beating one of the tag team champions. And yeah, so Domination are standing tall, continuing to beat down Akuma until High Flying Hawaiian runs out. He runs out, fends them off. However, right behind, Adam Smasher's got a chair, cracks him amongst the back, and you can just hear him yelling, Domination, I'm so proud of you. I don't have to do everything myself. Thank you. Amazing victory. There will be rations this week for you two, but I gotta take care of something. And then he continues to wail on Akuma and High Flying Hawaiian with that chair until Joey Morgan and Jimmy Hernandez run in, beat up Adam Smasher so that the tag champs are able to not get the shit kicked out of them anymore. And if you actually realize that those three men are in a match that needs to take place right now, so all the other men during that match, Primus Allen, Hollywood Brett, and Angry Gilmore, run out, and we get the next match underway. 86 rated match, and this match fucking goes 100 miles an hour for all 14 and a half minutes. We had, maybe Primus Allen's cardio ain't up to that speed, but then he tags out. So it's just millions of miles an hour. Jimmy Hernandez is pulling out all of his high spots. Joey Morgan looks like he's fucking Joey Minnesota again. Angry Gilmore looks like Angry Gilmore. He's amazing. Primus Allen's doing shit that he hasn't shown on Supreme TV before. Hollywood Brett's throwing out shit that he hasn't done since he was the Maw North American Champion. And Adam Smasher's just himself, being amazing, in an amazing form, getting amazing performances from everybody. I'm really happy with this match. 86. But in the end, Primus Allen is the one that stands tall. He hits a running power slam on Jimmy Hernandez. Primus Allen stands tall, getting this guy that I haven't really used before the, past 2 months, showing how dominant he is, that in the ring with Adam and Angry and Morgan and Starr, he's the one that's standing tall. He's the one that got the victory for their team. And yeah, amazing match, 86. And we have a hype promo by Sam Keith, accompanied by clips of him in Golden Canvas Grappling and Maw. Greg Keith, so Sam Keith is just kind of narrating over how amazing his son is. And on the screen you see Greg Keith in his matches against Finn Bruiser and Animal Harker, or in Maw when he was facing, we're not going to show Hal Harvard. Who was he facing in Maw? I think Robbie Wright was probably there for a minute, so we could use him. Who else? Who hasn't been signed anywhere? That would have been The Architect. I like The Architect, so I'd fucking use him in that video clip. So you get the gist. He's just hyping up his son. Greg Keith's gimmick got a very good. Can't be used by a babyface. Wasn't planning on it. So 71 for that. And then right before our main event, we get another 100-rated Rocky Golden promo, where he basically just says, so far the mission of defending the SWF from Scythe hasn't gone as planned. We lost the tag team match, but I have some unfinished business that's been lurking in the back of my mind this whole time. I need to reclaim my title before I'll be mentally stable to reclaim the company. Everything was taken from me by you, Scythe, and I'm going to slowly take it back before I take you out. Boom, 100 rated match, angle. Now it's our main event match, which gets a fucking 90, and there wasn't any selling shown. Who gives a shit? The lowest rating was a fucking 80. Damn, it feels good to be supreme. Whoa! Oh my fucking god, Mikey Lau is a god amongst men. He is a god amongst men. And even though he lost the match tonight, this match was about as 50-50 as it gets. So at the beginning of the match, John Greed's at ringside, and Mikey Lau is just like staring him daggers for like the first 3 minutes of this match. And at one point, Steve Freely goes to tag in Mikey Lau, and John Greed pulls him off the apron, but the ref doesn't see it. So Mikey Lau he smacks his hand against the apron. He's pissed, and so he grabs a chair from under the ring, and he does the fucking Eddie spot to the outside, throws it at John Greed, and gets him ejected. That has no relevance to the finish of this match. That was just a fun spot I thought of, that Mikey Lau would do the Eddie spot to get a manager ejected. But yeah, so Mikey Lau pulls out all the stops. However, Scythe is just so unpredictable because he has so few matches in the company that it's hard to get a grasp. And that's really the story of the match, is that the match is practically over once Scythe and Steve Freely are the two legal competitors, because Steve Freely has not seen this guy before. He's not wrestled this guy before. He's probably seen him, I'll be honest, because who the fuck wouldn't be watching SWF, even if you're employed by USPW. But Steve has no clue how to fend off against someone like Scythe. He's so big, yet so quick. It's hard to defend yourself when you don't really know what you're going up against. And Steve tries to tag out at one point, but Remo rips Mikey Lau off the apron, begins to beat him on the outside. Steve Freely can't tag out. He turns into a choke slam. Bam! 1, 2, 3. Scythe pins Steve Freely. And that gives Remo the perfect opportunity. Mikey Lau's already battered. He's already beaten from the match. So Remo continues to beat him, and he's going up the ramp. He's beating him up the ramp, and he picks him up for a power slam, and he goes head first into the Minitron, Ryback and John Cena style. Boom! There's sparks, there's explosions. Fucking, it looks like they died. And then the smoke comes, and Remo emerges from the smoke, standing tall, feeling fucking better than ever that he got to kick the shit out of Mikey Lau proper before their big match at Master of Puppets. Boom, finish the show. Damn, it feels good to be Supreme. A fucking 93. You can't touch me, TCW. Go take Doug Peak, shove him up your ass, and then Jefferson Stardust will shove his foot up your ass, and then Huey will kick his foot so far up your ass, and you'd probably watch it because you're total cuckold wasteland. Fuck you, TCW. 93. You know, I should see a therapist. I don't really hate TCW as much as you'd. Fuck TCW. What did they get? Bitch! We got 20 better. 20 better. I rest my case. How is this company growing? No, we're looking at it now. No fucking way. How are they growing? How are they getting better? From what shows? I'm sorry. I've been watching Total Wrestling. I've been reading the reports of Total Wrestling every week. I'm just very confused how anybody watches this shit. What is this? Who's this guy? Aaron Andrews. Carrying. Again. Aaron Andrews has to be fucking tired. I didn't want to click on that. I don't give a shit about Laura. Aaron Andrews has got to be fucking tired. Buddy, come over to the SWF. I won't blame you. So, yeah, that's going to do it for Supreme TV. Let me do a quick rundown of the card in, I believe, what is chronological order. I have it purely on memory. So, I believe we're going to open the show with the Greg Keith debut match against Steven Parker. Then it's the street fight between Fame and Money and the Awesomeness. Then is the four-way North American Championship where Lenny Brown will defend his title against Des Davids, not Rogue, Des Davids. Let me think. Okay, so it's Bear versus Des versus Lenny versus Zimmy, ZWB. Bear, Des, Lenny, ZWB for the North American Championship. Then it's the six-way. No. The tag titles, Hawaiian Crush versus Domination. Then it's the six-pack Gold Rush. The six-way Gold Rush, whatever I called it. Involving everybody in that tag match. So it was Angry Gilmore, Primus Allen, Jimmy Hernandez, Joey Morgan, Hollywood Brett, and Adam Smasher. Winner gets a world title match at next week's Supreme TV, so in 6 days, they'll get a world title match against whoever wins the main event. But it's not the main event yet, because it's Mikey Lau versus Remo in the Ultimate Grudge match, which I really hope does well. I think it will, because Mikey Lau is a god amongst men. I don't know if you've noticed. And then our main event, 5-way for the World Championship. Crippler defends his title against Rocky, Steve, Scythe, and Randy. Boom, that's the full fucking card. Let's go. Easy dubs. Master of Puppets is next. I hope you're all excited, and I hope to see you for the pay-per-view.